Welcome to the Citizen channel and match report as we look back at a disappointing night overall. It didn't really count for much, but still disappointing. I don't like City getting beat, whatever the circumstances, and we'll chat about that a bit more later. RB Leipzig 2, Manchester City 1, Tuesday the 7th of December, 5:45 p.m. kickoff. Yeah, well, those weird kickoff times. The City lineup on the night, I got 9 right. I had Jesus in there. Obviously, I didn't realise he would get injured, but I knew Pep would go sort of with his periphery first team players for this one, and I was a bit disappointed if Palmer didn't get in. That was the blow for me. I know a lot of people disappointed, a lot of the kids didn't get in, but I thought Palmer at least would have got a start in this one, which was a bit disappointing. But apart from that, yeah, it didn't surprise me. It didn't surprise me one bit, the team that Pep put out. Stefan, Walker, Stones, Aki, Zinchenko, Ferner, Gundogan, De Bruyne, Mahrez, Foden and Grealish. So quite a strong team. And our bench, Edison, Carson, Diaz, Sterling, and then you've got the kids, haven't you? Egan, Riley, Palmer, McAtee, Lavia, and Wilson, Esbrand. Yeah, interesting enough. I mean, obviously in hindsight, it is a thing, but I was a bit worried about the right-back position and whether Walker should play it. I was a bit worried before the thing. I think I've said that. I did say that, and I think a lot of City fans were. But as I say, in hindsight, it would have been perhaps an easy thing just to stick one of the kids in there, wouldn't it? But there you go. Obviously, Pep made a decision. It didn't work out on the night, unfortunately. In charge was the school teacher. Yes, and he did act like a school teacher at some times, didn't he? Sandro Shara, is that how you pronounce it? The VAR guy was Fede Sand. Didn't take too long looking at the VAR calls, did he? But we'll leave that. Didn't see many red and blue lines being drawn, but there you go. Match report, yeah, they went 1-0 up, and deservedly so. It was Stefan who was sort of City's best player of that first half. It had been 15 minutes before a real chance was created, and that was for Leipzig. And again, on 20 minutes, Stefan was being made to work. It did sort of sting City into action, but again, a quick through ball. And they went a deserved at the time, 1-0 up, a simple goal. Stones and Aki were sort of left in no man's land. We've seen these goals against City many times over the years, perhaps not so much recently, but SUBLIME, that's how you pronounce it, rounded Stefan nicely with Walker, Stones and Aki all left for dead. I mean, Walker really perhaps should have anticipated a bit better as well. It wasn't just Aki and Stones. Obviously, he should have had the pace to get goal side at some. If he kept on his shoulder, but he obviously didn't, did he? He sort of dropped off, and that was Walker's night. Really, sometimes he looked as though he'd lost a bit of his speed as well. They almost made it 2-0 on 26 minutes, again on 39 minutes with that Stefan saving well again. So we had half chances. Aki perhaps should have done better from a corner with a header. Foden was fed through by KDB. The keeper got his fingers to it and pushed it onto the post. But an out of sorts Foden, we found out it could have been had a knock, and it was. But it's been like that for the last 2 or 3 games. So I'm sure we should have jumped on that a little bit earlier, a couple of weeks ago. KDB free kick was comfortably safe. It was a good free kick. If he'd put it right in the corner, I think goalie might have struggled, but it was a nice height and time for the goalkeeper to get across and save it. So we went in 1-0 down, and to be honest with you, it could have been 2 or 3-0 down. I don't think it would have been unfair on us, and it would have been fair on RB Leipzig, to be honest with you. I just wrote half-time City need to do better, but Leipzig are playing pretty well. Second half, frustrating. Pace of Sterling was introduced initially, although that seemed to sort of die out a little bit after about 10 or 15 minutes, and we were caught offside time and time again. That's a lack of not interest, but a lack of being at it. I think we were caught offside 4 times in the first 10 minutes of that second half, and it happened 3 or 4 more times during that second half. So very poor by City. That's very bad discipline by City in that second half. And again, on 71 minutes, we were caught again by Leipzig. We've been quite subdued till then. I thought they'd gone in at half-time, found out that Brugge were getting stuffed by PSG, and they come out without that intensity, I thought, Leipzig, but City didn't take advantage of it, and they were quite subdued. And I think on 71 minutes, I think that was more or less their first chance of the half, and they made it 2-0 with the very first attack, as he sort of picked his spot. Silva, wasn't it? Picked his spot, and you can't blame Stefan or anything like that. Just a well taken goal. Defence was a bit square and a bit slow. Aki obviously tried to get sort of blocking, but was nowhere near it. But we were back in it, wasn't it? Obviously on 76 minutes, Zinchenko, not again, like most of the players, not his greatest game, smacked the ball across, a real fierce ball across. And well done Mahrez, who again, another guy who I didn't notice too much, did well to get a great diving header to make it 2-1. So you think 76 minutes, there's a chance to rescue this. I thought we had a chance to rescue this, and we showed a little bit more determination in that last 15 minutes or so. And it did look salvageable. But of course, once Mr. Walker had lost his head and done that stupid kick out in I think it was about the 83rd minute, something like that. It was game over anyway, although we did play okay with 10 men for the 10 minutes or so with injury time that there was. Just pathetic by Walker. Obviously misses a game now in the Champions League. Absolutely stupid, and thoroughly deserves any criticism he gets for that, to be honest with you. It's just needless. KDB came close. Diaz came on for Aki, and Palmer came on for KDB. But a 2-1 defeat was perhaps no less than we deserved, unfortunately. The key stats, not overly impressive. Leipzig 9 shots, 5 on target. City just 13 shots, 3 on target. Most of our efforts were called offside before we even got a chance to have a go on goal. Possession again at 44%, 56% to City, so not great again. Pass completion was relatively low for City. It was 84% for Leipzig, 87% for City. Onto the player rates, and I have been kind to some players. I've looked at the circumstances. I've looked at the fact they may not have been playing putting too many games recently, etc., and given there were 7 changes to the last game we played, we always struggle. We do struggle. I mean, unless we're playing total bang average opposition, if we play a half decent team with 7 changes to our best team, if you like, we're going to struggle. We have done in the past, and we did last night. So that's we've not learned anything new there. Right, the ratings. Stuart Brennan's for the Evening News. My starting is only a 6. So they played an okay game considering the circumstances. They'll get a 6. Anything worse than that, they'll get less. Stefan, 4 excellent first half saves, giving him a rarity, a City goalkeeper as man of the match, said Zach Stefan. So, whether I agree with that's another matter. But Stuart's given him an 8 out of 10, and I can't disagree. My starting point is 6. I think he did enough. As I say, not a lot he could do with the goals as such, and he did his best to save another 4 or 5 certain goals at one stage. So I'm going to give him an 8 as well. He's the only real player to come out of this with his head held high for me, to be honest with you. Kyle Walker, Stuart said, never switched on. He didn't. Poor for the Leipzig goal, constantly on his heels and got a stupid red. So Stuart's given him a 3. I can't give him as low as Stuart, can I? But I'm going to give him a 4. I thought it was poor. Never really at it. Occasionally, he I think there's one moment where he zoomed across to left back to break up an attack, which was a bit like the old Walker, but there's not enough of that. It was a very, very bitty performance from Walker, and that sending off just put the top out on it, and just wasn't good enough, unfortunately. John Stones, Stuart said he needed this game, but did himself no favours with poor defending for the goals. Again, in a generally back 4 that wasn't great. John Stones didn't do anything outstanding last night. It was quite poor for John, and I like John Stones, but last night he usually leads when he's obviously in charge of people like Aki, but a little bit less from him last night. Stuart's given him a 4. I've just given him a 4.5. I'll give him a little half point extra, but it was poor to say the least. Nathan Ake, Stuart said, pretty blameless for the goals. Okay, but he's not close to Laporte in terms of launching attacks. No, he should have done better with that header, I think. Stuart's given him a 6. I am going to give him a 6. I'm going to give him a bog standard 6. He was okay. He could have done better, but again, he's one of these guys who just comes in and out at times, and he did an okay job. That's all you can say. Zinchenko, Stuart said, another who found it hard to raise interest, but the cross from Mahrez was excellent. It was superb. He was okay, don't get me wrong. So again, Stuart's given him a 6. Again, I'm going to give him an okay 6, a bit in and out, but at least he did some good stuff, which, and he supplied the assist for the goal. But it wasn't great. But again, another player coming in from the periphery that was okay. That's all you can say. Ferner didn't share the responsibilities as Stuart driving City forward, but he looked rusty. He did, but he looked his age perhaps. I think this is a season too far, unfortunately. I wouldn't have thought I'd be saying that 12 months ago when he was sort of on fire for that what we thought was his last season. I mean, Stuart's given him a 6. I have given him a 6, but perhaps I'm being a bit kind there. But obviously it's Ferner. 1 or 2 poor balls, but he was always involved. He had to go. At least he looked interested. It wasn't for lack of interest or passion. At least he looked as though he wanted to get involved. It just didn't quite work out for him. Gundo and Stewart said tried in vain to get it rolling. He did, but eventually became as sloppy as the rest. Stewart's given him a 6. I think he's been kind there. I thought Gundo didn't step up last night. I thought it was quite poor, to be honest with you. I was unimpressed, so I'm going to give him a 5. He tried, but nothing really came off, and he didn't sort of get himself into game that much. I was very disappointed with it, which can happen when KDB's on the pitch, but I do expect more from Gundo, to be honest with you. KDB himself, Stuart said back to square one for him in terms of finding his rhythm and radar, so he's given him a 5. Yeah, I'm going to agree. I'll give him a 5. I mean, I think he certainly took the first 2 free kicks. I think Mara should have said, I'm having this one, because he's not really proven anything to start taking these free kicks. Yeah, and it was a good effort, the one that was saved. But as I said, for the goalkeeper, he had plenty of time to see it coming, and it was comfortable for him in the end. So, yeah, apart from that, he hit 1 or 2 nice balls, but he's still not at it, is he? I mean, but he has got excuses. He's just coming back from COVID. So, I will give him a 5. I'll give him less than average, but we do, he is taking time to hit his straps. Obviously, with all this COVID thing, he was struggling. And obviously, this knocked him back down again, as Stuart said there. Stewart said, picked up another European goal with a smart header at the far post. And he's given him a 6. Yeah, I will give him a 6 because of the goal. But apart from that header, I thought, again, he was pretty average. I say he would have probably scored a 5. The fact that he got us back in it, we still had a chance at 2-1. I will give him a standard 6, but I thought he was pretty non-effective or ineffective apart from that goal. Phil Foden, Stuart said, did not look right. He didn't. Missing crosses and showing poor touch taken off at half-time. Yeah, there's a problem there. Perhaps he shouldn't have been on the pitch. A game too far for Phil. He's not looked right last 2 or 3 games. He still brought a good save out of the keeper. We almost scored before half-time when it hit the post. But, just give him a 5. I'll give him a 5.5. Obviously, the reasons for this out of sorts display that we've learned. But, he almost grabbed us that. If he'd scored that goal, great. But I think he probably would have still been taken off at half-time. But he's not at it, is he? Let's be honest about it. Jack Grealish, Stuart says, anonymous in the false 9 role. He certainly was, and shifted out to the left to accommodate. Yeah, it looks a bit better when he went out left, but accommodate Sterling, of course. Yeah, so Stuart's give him a 6. I can't give him a 6. I thought, I noticed him a bit more in the second half, as I said, when Sterling came on. He moved back out to the left, but I'll have to give him a 5.5. I don't think he was great. He was better, but he needs to impress more in these sort of games. And Leipzig are a good footballing team. You get a bit more room against Leipzig, so I thought he could have done a little bit better. As for the subs, Raheem Sterling, a half-time substitution. Pep doesn't do many of them unless he has to, which he had to in this one because Foden wasn't right. A bit haphazard, but he changed things, said Stuart. So he's given him a 6. I haven't given him a 5.5. I think he changed things for about 10 minutes and then he'd sort of disappeared for me. He didn't inspire or carry on. He looked all right for the first 5 or 10 minutes of that second half, and then for me, faded. So I'm only going to give him I'm going to mark him because he's on for a full half, but I'm only going to give him 5.5. And Diaz came on on 87 minutes, and Palmer come on 87 minutes. Far too late. Well, I hadn't even noticed Diaz come on, to be honest with you. I thought, who's that? Who's that? The left back? Diaz. Why? I have no idea why he came on for that last few minutes. Perhaps Pep will know. Man of the match, yes, I am going to agree with Stuart. I don't think there's any doubt. I'm going to give it Zach Steffen because of his first half performance. Didn't have a lot to do in the second half, let another goal in, but Leipzig were quite happy to just go through the motions that second half, I think, and City couldn't take advantage for that. We weren't good enough, but Zach Steffen's got to be man of the match. Right, Leipzig going forward. Yeah, I mean, well done. They're now in the Europa League. Obviously, they've got to find themselves a new manager. He did okay last night. We know they've got a good team. We know they can press. They know they can pass the ball. They can play pretty well. And it was interesting, wasn't it? Because that first half, they thoroughly deserved to be beating City. But they were actually there to be taken in that second half, and City just didn't have enough quality on the pitch to do it, unfortunately. Yes, if this game had meant something, I think we would have beaten Leipzig. I think we would have got a result there, to be honest with you, but it didn't. And I think that's shown in our performance, and all credit to Leipzig in an empty stadium for putting at least a good 45 minutes together. As I say, I don't think they played that well in the second half. But it'll be interesting to see how they go on in the Europa League. I think they'll play a lot tougher games than that last night in the Europa League, but they're well chuffed with that. That's what I don't like about getting beaten. It makes these teams dead, really happy, and they'll be dead chuffed, and they're quite right to be dead chuffed. But I just thought, obviously, a poor performance by City rather than a fantastic performance by Leipzig. So yeah, they'll be. I think they'll be okay. I think they might move up that Bundesliga. I think there's 7th or 8th at the moment. They should be okay. They get a new manager, but this guy, give him a chance, see what he does. But I'm sure they know what they're doing, don't they? They've had some good quality managers over the last few years, so I'm sure they might have someone already lined up there. But it'd be interesting to see how they do in the Europa League. City, yeah, we learned nothing, did we? Pep learned nothing. As fans, we learned nothing. As I said, we did think before the game, obviously, and I thought before the game, when you make 7 changes to your team or your last team out, which was in a competitive Premier League game, when you make 7 changes to that team against a half decent team, we're going to struggle. And the guys on the pitch, didn't they say the offsides sort of shown that, didn't they? They just weren't quite at it on the night. It was a lack of fans, a lack of knowing that it didn't matter, which it didn't. It was just like a friendly game, and it shouldn't matter. And we're not going to get all upset about it, but it is disappointing. It's disappointing. I mean, we should, if some people said it, if we're going to play, I said it myself, if we're going to play like that, I mean, we may as well play the kids. I can understand Pep's decision, the team he picked. I'm not going to berate him. He thinks sometimes, he hopes he knows this team is better than that, and he hopes for better, but sometimes we're just not at the races on these sort of games where we swap so many players around. And a lot of players coming back, your KDBs from not an injury, but COVID, which is even worse, can make you really poorly, stuff like that. So, and players who haven't perhaps been picking up the minutes that they should. Gundogan hasn't been exactly firing. He's asked to take responsibility. So, they didn't quite step up. Pep will be disappointed, like we're all disappointed. But as I said, if you're going to play like that, he may as well just, if you're going to get beat, you may as well stick your kids in and get beat and learn something from it, because there's absolutely nothing we learned from that game last night. Nothing at all. The only player to come out of it, Stefan, came out of it well. Apart from that, I mean, you're struggling to think of a player who I didn't score anyone else over 6, did I don't think, and that was being generous, I thought. So yeah, we learned absolutely nothing from that. It's such a shame. Of course, we won the group, and I look forward to the draw, obviously, on Monday. But generally, it was a bit disappointing. Although at 2-1, we had, I thought we had a chance at 2-1. That's the only time in the whole night I thought, we might go on and grab something here. I'll be happy with a draw, but it just didn't happen. We just weren't good enough on the night. Anyway, that's that, guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know your play rating, stuff like that, or any big differences. As I said, I have been a little bit kind to certain players. I don't think I've been harsh to anybody particularly. I don't want to go to 1s and 2s and 3s out of 10. I don't think ever any players are particularly worth that. Even Walker, as I say, he was a bit in and out and he was stupid. But yeah, I'm not going to go as low as 3 out of 10. But it's not like my film reviews. I'm not usually quite mean on them with the player ratings. I'm a bit kinder, but. Yeah, let me know what you think, guys, anyway. And join me this week as we look forward. Of course, the Wolves History Boys feature's already out there, going back to 2001. Check that out if you can. Enjoy doing those history vlogs, please. Only 10 or 12 minutes. Give them a watch and give them a thumbs up. That'd be great. I do love doing these history ones. And not just the match, but a little bit of what's happening, what the UK number 1 is and what's happening in the UK at this time. Stuff like that, just a bit of interest to jog your little memories, if you were there, and if you're too young to remember, just to find out a few things of what your dads and your granddads were up to in 2001, if you're perhaps too young to actually remember what was happening in 2001. So please check that out if you can. Of course, there'll be an odd show. And, of course, a preview show on the Thursday and Friday of this week. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Whatever you're going to do the rest of the day, have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families. More important, let's all look after each other. So me here again on the Citizens channel. Have a look at my film and TV channel as well. I do reviews on films and TV dramas and information vlogs as well. What's at the cinema and what's out to buy, stuff like that on DVD, Blu-ray. So please check that out if you can. But if you're not really that bothered about it, please join me back on here. Please, very soon on the Citizen channel for all this Wolves stuff coming up. Please join me for that. Until then, I only ask one thing, don't I? Please stay safe, Blues. Come on, City. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.